Something in your life right now is asking to be looked at, noticed, or observed. And the cards are a little curious about that. So let's find out what it is. This is your April soul alignment session. There are 3 piles, 3 messages, but this isn't about getting answers. It's going to be about what you're willing to explore once the cards reveal what's asking to be seen. I want to thank Shannon from the Tarot Diagnosis for this intriguing idea of letting the cards ask the questions instead of us asking the cards questions. So take a breath, choose the pile that you're most drawn to. The timestamps are in the description. And something new this month, if a message sparks another question or you want to go deeper on something, send it to me anonymously through Soul Threads. I'll put the link in the description as well. And I'll pull a few to respond to in upcoming videos so your curiosity can keep unfolding beyond this reading. But for now, let's get into your messages. Hello, my Soul Path 1, those who chose the orange-yellow calcite here. This is going to be your reading. Now what we're going to do is we are going to get a card from here and a single card from the tarot to ask the question, and then we'll pull additional cards to get more guidance. Okay. So at the moment we have adventure, be open to new experiences. And we have the 5 of Cups in reverse. So the question that I'm getting for these 2 cards is, what past disappointments or emotions or relationships are you willing to let go of or release in order to open yourself up to new adventure or new emotional experiences? Whenever I see the 5 of Cups in reverse, this can be about accepting what can no longer be, but also a resistance to looking at the things that can no longer be and finding acceptance within that. That might be hard. There could be grief that comes along with that, and maybe that's something you're avoiding with good reason. Nobody wants to feel loss. Nobody wants to feel grief. But what is at risk if you continue to hang on to this thing that can no longer be what you want it to be or need it to be, that has run its course, or that is not allowing you the emotional growth that you might desire? A new adventure feels like it's calling you here, which requires a new choice. So let's see what is possible if you engage with this question. I sense the Fool here. This feels like a brand new journey, but again, it's in reverse. So this feels like, again, more resistance, or maybe not being able to see the potential, the possibility. It almost feels too risky. It might feel a little overwhelming, but how can you reframe this experience, not just in its loss or in the changes that happen and the overwhelm that might come with what's next? How can you shift your perspective into looking at what's possible, looking at the potential of the path forward? And maybe that's the adventure. It might have nothing to do with anything or anyone in the physical. This could all be internal, specifically because we're seeing these cards in reverse. This could be an internal adventure of moving through grief that has been unprocessed and opening yourself up, but first feeling overwhelmed or burdened in that process. I do feel there's a bright side to the other side of this. So how open are you to moving through that, facing that, exploring that? And the Four of Wands in reverse is the energy or the perspective that will help you navigate it. And what I love is that each and every card, we started off with a very dark and gloomy energy, gray. We're slowly starting to see more and more yellow as these cards progress. And bottom of the deck, we have the Nine of Pentacles in the upright, but also look at all this yellow. So there is beauty on the other side of this. This is almost personal stability, personal agency, abundance, in however you see that. New experiences. But first, there's an unearthing. And that's what that Four of Wands is pointing to or suggesting, is that with the step in this new direction, the perspective you need to have is that the instability, while uncomfortable and unsettling, is important to help you find your footing of what feels secure, safe, of what comfort and values look like to you, what your own personal values look like to you, and how are you investing your time and your energy in those things. With the Five of Cups, it feels like it's an emotional investment, but maybe, and this is something to inquire, it's not aligned with your values, or it's not aligned with a path that you would like to follow. So there's an inquiry here about your values, about where you are investing your time, energy, money, in addition to that emotional investment. So I feel there's some things that are being unearthed. There's somewhat of an upheaval of how you're doing things, what you're committing yourself to. And that's the energy to embrace, is allow the things that feel unstable or something that feels unreliable to be released. Something that doesn't offer you a sense of stability or security, but that also might be internal structures as well. Again, we have another reversal. There could be a lot of shadow work involved here, where you're facing difficult things that you don't want to see or that you've pushed away. But these are simply things to integrate and to understand. And that could be what the Three of Cups is. What emotions, maybe the difficult emotions, are challenging you or you need support with? Are you committing to long-term stability or short-term comfort? And that's what the Nine of Pentacles suggests. It's about focusing on the long-term goals, needs, and desires, and being really intentional with how you spend your time, energy, money in relation to that. How you see abundance, and even how you see yourself, what you feel you deserve or value. So there's a strong focus on your sovereignty, your independence, but also what you're aligning yourself to, who you're aligning yourself to, what you're committing to long term. And to know when to accept the things that cannot change and focus on what you can change in those moments. But it requires an unconventional way of doing something for a time and an openness to explore that. Being okay letting go, getting in the zone of discomfort, taking calculated risks, and allowing some of the foundations to fall away. So that is today's reflection, my dear Soul Path 1. If you're someone who's tired of fluffy readings and ready to do the inner work to turn your ideas into reality, hit subscribe so we can build that together. And remember, you're not here waiting for your future. You are here right now, creating it. I'll see you in the next one. Hello, my dear Soul Path 2 and those who chose the Opalite stone. We are going to open the reading with an oracle card and a single card from the tarot to get an overall feel for the question. And then we will pull additional tarot cards to get further information on how you might explore this question a little bit deeper. Soul Path 2, what is the question? Cards, what are you curious about? Ooh, interesting. Okay. So we have the number 2 with bug, look out for a divine test, and the star. This feels like a challenge of faith. Maybe you're on a mission or have a goal to attain healing or align to a higher purpose. So I feel a good question here is, are you keeping the faith? Or maybe how are you keeping faith alive when you are challenged on an aligned path? Are you trusting that growth and progress is happening through those challenges? Or are you letting those challenges instill a sense of doubt? Sometimes when we come up against tests or frustrations or irritations, we tend to believe that that thing that we're chasing, that big, beautiful vision, that dream, it may even make us think that we're not, that's not the path, it's not the road, we're not in alignment. So are you giving up too easily because you're not seeing your big, beautiful dream or your goal or your ambition come to light yet? This also feels very focused energy. How focused are you on your goals? Is there a fear of success? Do you feel misaligned on this path that you are being called to? So let's get a couple more cards. So if you engage with this, looking at the irritations, are you allowing the irritations and the divine tests to shape you on your journey towards healing or your higher self? Or are you turning away from them? Are you turning away from that because of the irritations? So what is possible if you engage with this question of using the frustrations, the irritations, the test as a means to get to your divine goal? Page of Cups in reverse. And one more, Queen of Cups in reverse. My goodness, with the Six of Cups. In the upright as the shadow card, bottom of the deck. There's an inner child here that feels uncomfortable, maybe unseen, possibly feeling threatened in this movement towards your dreams, your goals, your highest desires, your fullest expression. Your North Star is the thing that feels truest to you. And there's an inner child that might have something to say about that. It's almost as if the inner child has the answers to the way forward. When we think of children, they tend to not have a lot of understanding of consequence. They just play, they experiment, they get curious. And that curiosity is currently hidden or subtle or being put aside. And when you engage with moving towards alignment, moving towards a dream or a goal, I feel you're going to activate an inner child that feels unsafe, an inner child that is asking to be considered. And by inner child, I also mean emotions as well that come up. Those vulnerabilities, as we see in the star here, this person is in the nude, completely vulnerable to the elements. So moving towards this star could feel very vulnerable. So these divine tests, these challenges, adversities, may be challenging that part of you that doesn't want to be vulnerable, that maybe is resisting some kind of emotion, but it's also encouraging you to look at that as well, bringing that to light, bringing that to the forefront through the irritation or the frustration, through the self-doubt, through whatever emotion is coming up and being simultaneously pushed aside or pushed away. So looking at how this experience, or how you are through this experience, are protecting, suppressing, or listening to that inner child, I feel is where the inquiry should happen. So the Queen of Cups in reverse is what energy or perspective will help you navigate it. So I feel your divine test here isn't necessarily to get to that North Star. It is to understand how your emotions, or the suppression of those emotions, maybe past connections, are preventing you from moving forward towards that North Star, are distracting you away from that North Star. And is there a way to offer more self-compassion, more space to play and get messy, more ways to express yourself in a vulnerable way with the right people? And the Six of Cups can also be about the pleasures of life, the simple times of childhood when there was just a feeling that you followed and an emotion that you expressed without worrying about what others might think. Maybe you don't want to annoy people with how you feel, your sensitivities. And how is that preventing you from moving towards what you desire? What feels pleasurable to you? What feels joyful for you? How are you holding back? How are you keeping things in? And how can you offer yourself a little more care, acknowledgement, recognition, self-love? Because in these two expressions, it feels like there's nothing to give, or there's a blocking to receive. As we see in the star, those two cups are overflowing. So the person in the star not only has enough to fill this pool or this pond, but enough for it to be dispersed to other landscapes, other areas. So to me, this feels like it's about filling your own cup and validating that your emotions are correct and they're real, but also not allowing them to get in your way. Not allowing them to necessarily tell you what's true or not. Understanding that it is an emotion and a feeling that could possibly be rooted in past experiences or triggered by past experiences. And to not allow that immediate initial response to those emotions or feelings be the end-all be-all, but get a little bit curious about those emotions. What are they trying to tell you? What is it that they need? So that is today's reflection, my dear Soul Path 2. If you're someone who is tired of fluffy readings and ready to do the inner work to turn your ideas into reality, hit the subscribe button so we can build together. And remember, you're not here waiting for your future. You're here right now creating it. I'll see you in the next video. Hello, Soul Path 3, and those who chose the Shungite stone. Welcome into your reading. We are going to choose an oracle card to help with the question. Then we'll pull one tarot card to finalize the question, if that makes any sense. And then we will get into more tarot to get some more information on how to navigate this question a little bit. So, question cards, what are you curious for Soul Path 3? Okay. So we have loyal friend with the number 9, a wise, supportive person with the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. So the question these two cards are posing: are you or someone in your life struggling to uphold commitments despite the appearance of loyalty? So where is that loyalty being challenged right now, where actions aren't matching intention? And this could be within you to self, or you in relation to other people. But this also could be in the external, of other people in relation to you as well. This could also speak to a connection that has stalled or unable to move forward, and it may need to be reevaluated. When the Knight is in reverse here, this is a stagnancy, a stalling energy, possibly a complete stop, or even a setback. And so there's something within your life that could very well need some reevaluation when we think of reversals in terms of planets. These are retrogrades, and usually all of the retrogrades are about all of those words: review, recalibrate, readjust. So something may need to be readjusted. Areas of life that feel like they've stalled or they've peaked and aren't seeing any progress, movement, or growth. This could particularly be in connection with friendships or networks, and where you are getting support or not. So what is emerging or possible if you engage with this question? Aha! I love that. We have another Knight. This time the Knight is moving forward. It's in the upright position, the Knight of Cups. So I feel when you get really practical about what's working and what's not in relation to a friendship or a connection or a network, I feel you're going to start leading with your heart a little bit more, possibly have deeper relationships or connections. And what energy or perspective will help you navigate it? The Temperance at the bottom of the deck in reverse. So you're going to move forward, I feel, with a little more heart, a little more maybe vulnerability, possibly have deeper connections. So the connections here with this Knight of Pentacles in reverse, it may be practical, but it may not offer the depth that you're looking for in a connection or a relationship. So I feel once those are released or adjusted in some way, that you're going to have more time for the things that are deep and meaningful for you and go beyond the surface level results or the superficiality. Maybe you'll find more loyalty or invest more time in friends who are loyal, receive and offer more support. And what energy or perspective will help you navigate it with the Hanged Man? Perspective is going to be really important here, and allowing yourself to be in a zone of discomfort for a time. Specifically, if you need to release something, review something, reevaluate something, and make changes or adjustments, that may be an uncomfortable process. And allow something to not happen right away. So this Hanged Man is about not really caring about how you look, about what people are thinking of you, or what people might be judging you for, but doing the thing that feels most aligned and correct for you. That doesn't mean you can't be kind and diplomatic. But in terms of life path or personal connections, we have finite time on this earth, but within our day. And this feels like a reprioritization of things that are important or people that are important to you, that offer that loyalty and support, maybe the wisdom and the guidance that you require or maybe you offer. And in order to do that, patience is required, time, getting into a moment or multiple moments of discomfort where maybe you're being judged, where maybe you have uncomfortable conversations, where the way you've done things before is dissolving and you're deciding to do something different that might feel awkward, but that might also give you new answers to your questions. And so the stagnancy, the pause, is sacred because it gives you space to feel into what's next. It helps you align to your intuition. It helps you connect with yourself on a deeper level. When we look at the Temperance in reverse at the bottom of the deck here, that could possibly be a shadow of you feeling misaligned in some area of your life, but also misaligned with someone or multiple people in your life, and what adjustments might need to be made there. How can I find ways to moderate my time with them? Or to temper my responses or my reactiveness? So there's almost a level of detachment, and that doesn't have to be a physical detachment or a cutting out. This could just be about how you can show up to feel peaceful and protected, how you can go about managing emotions that come through in these connections, about how much support and how much you offer this connection, and whether or not that requires changes or adjustments. And that may take time. Again, the Temperance is about patience in its upright form, because this alchemy that's happening of awareness and understanding and turning that into something different, that raw emotion or that raw response or the rawness of an experience, turning that into something different is going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. So this alchemy of emotion and feeling and working with that, understanding it, bringing it to your awareness is going to take time to transmute, to transform. And so there's a significant level of patience that is required, not just with the situation or the other person, but with yourself as well. So that is the reflection I have for you today, my dear Soul Path 3. If you're someone who is tired of fluffy readings and are ready to do the inner work to turn your ideas into reality, Hit subscribe so we can build together. Remember, you're not here waiting for your future. You are here right now creating it. I'll see you in the next video.